that is what fueled a lot of my pornography addiction
Mm.
because the shame cycle is huge. Like, 'cause
Mm.
you see it and you feel like, I shouldn't have seen it,
Mm.
but I loved it. But I shouldn't have, but I
Mm.
loved it.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
oh my God. So now you're like, but
Yeah.
oh man, if I could see it
The
again,
forbidden
but I don't want to
fruit.
see it
Yeah.
again.
The forbiddenness of it makes it a lot more
You
compelling.
you literally split.
Right.
It's in your
It's a
brain.
Jekyll and Hyde thing.
Oh, you're like, and then you go back and you go, oh, well, look, oh my, and wait, and you have to understand, I'm a kid, and this is one thing about pornography. A lot of people think that, you know, they say, yeah, you're right. When you're 18 years old, you can be a discerning adult, you can choose and the whole thing. But I don't know anybody that discovered pornography at 18.
Right.
Nobody.
No. Oh yeah. No.
No,
No. No.
it's dropped off. It's like the drug dealer outside the school who's like, "Hey man, here's a free pack of crack. There you go. Hey man, I got some cocaine for you for free." And you're like 10.
Yeah.
Because you get a customer for life.
And
they know that.
The 70s pornography, people don't understand. Like it was hysterical. It's like, hey, Rainn, my cousin Don's got 3 penthouses and he's hit them in the stump out behind Eric Mitchell's house.
Dude.
You know that big stump? Yeah, they're out there. Like, let's go look at. And after school, like we'd go out to the stump behind Eric Mitchell.
Always you and a buddy.
And
always.
Yeah. And then, but they'd get soggy from being in the stump, you know, but you'd kind of like peel the page. You're like, oh, it's like twin cowgirls on a hay bale, you know, with their boobies out, and you're 11 years old, and this is your introduction. But again, very different now where you've got parents are giving their kids phones without any blocks on them whatsoever. And, you know, in about 13 and a half seconds, you can have like, you know, the most hardcore gangbangs you can have you ever imagined in your life just up on your browser.
Can I tell you, it's changing human sexuality as we know it. You actually fall in love with the phone. You don't fall in love with the girl.
Whoa.
You fall in love with the experience of looking at the girl through the phone.
Yeah.
So real women don't, it's like, oh, no.
Yeah.
No, get away from me.
Yeah.
I don't know. Guys would much rather.
Because real women, they have smells and they've got blemishes
bills
and
problems.
Yeah. And needs.
Listen, my perfect example of this is I'll never forget when I was in the NFL, and the big thing was they would go to the strip club. And I was like, and I was trying to fit in with NFL guys. And like, we going to the strip club. We going to Magic City. We landed in Atlanta. We in Atlanta. We going to Magic City. And I was like, and they pumped it all up. And I was like, okay. So we go there. And oh my God, like you say, smells and scents and atmosphere and music. And you're like, whoa, okay. And the girls are all dancing around. But then the girl would want to sit down with the football players and start talking. What y'all doing? She's like, and all the guys, we all look at her like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Conversation.
And she's like, well, you know, my kids, you know, and you're like, oh, stop.
I don't want to know about your kids.
You're ruining.
You want it to stay in fantasy, right?
Because you're becoming human before my eyes. I don't like your humanity. Be this doll. Be this thing that no one can really touch and see. It's kind of like, I just want you to be a page in my magazine or just a thing.
Or a screenshot or a GIF or a little porn video or whatever. Yeah.
You're not human.
Yeah.
And I have to say this. What happens is there's a whole generation of men that have learned to not tie that humanity in with women, which makes it really easy to abuse and really easy to discount and degrade because they're playthings. It's a toy. It's like this copper. It's like, no, you're here for me.
Yeah.
And it changes how you think about people. They become objects and body parts.
I talked to a therapist friend of mine, and she had a clinic in Los Angeles, and she said the number of like sex addict young folk are coming in, you know, not like you think about like porn addicted sex addict, like old, like pervert guys, 22-year-olds coming in who were coming in because they were unable to get erections with their girlfriends because they had been watching porn for 10 years. And then human interaction no longer aroused them. like you said, you know, the dopamine, the oxytocin, just from the phone and from the images. And you have 22-year-olds going on Viagra in order to try and have a sex life with a human being.
It's heroin.
Yeah.
It's heroin. It's like a shot that I've never been on drugs. I mean, that's not my thing, but I know what addiction feels like.
Yeah.
And going back to normal, it doesn't do it.
Hmm.
You know, like you can get to a point where you're like, oh, you know, where's this doesn't do it for me.
How did you get help? How did you get caught, or did you raise the white flag? How did you ask for help with porn addiction? And by the way, too, like I've talked about this, like I'm poly addicted, right? So it started with drugs and alcohol,
Mm-hmm.
but porn, gambling, food,
Yep.
workaholism, codependence,
Yep.
you name it, like I've sampled it. And so I've definitely been there, and I know how those algorithms work, you know, on those porn sites, and they just keep you coming back in the same way that Candy Crush or social media keeps you coming back. But it's a lot more insidious because it has to do with a beautiful, true, and important part of human nature, which is our sexuality. And how is our sexuality expressed with another person in intimacy? And it sabotages that. So it makes it a little bit different than like TikTok.
Yep.
You know, but it's the same
But it's
kind
the
of
same.
algorithmic behavioral addiction. But tell me, can you go a little bit more granular in your story?
I will. You know, I'll never forget. I can go real granular. February 10th, 2010,
Mm.
snowstorm in New York. I was shooting a pilot for TBS called Are We There Yet? We were doing 10 episode pilots. It actually ended up getting picked up, and we were celebrating the end of the shoot of 10 episodes. And I was in New York and went to the Mercer Hotel. And my wife was in LA, and my wife kept calling me. Like, the thing is she was just like, Terry, something's up. What is going on with you? Like, you're acting weird. I don't. And here I am. I'm like, look, what is your problem? I'm very successful.
Yeah.
We're doing good.
I'm providing for the family.
I'm
I'm getting
providing.
work.
I'm over here working hard.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you bugging me about? And she wouldn't stop. And the thing is, my wife did not know. But the thing is, I was always.
How much were you using porn? How many hours?
I mean, I was hooked. There were times when days would
Hours a
turn
day.
into night.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And this is another thing that was really weird. And I have to say this because there were certain times that I was more susceptible, be it Friday night. Because Friday night is when everybody would celebrate. Like, okay, we did everything. And I always pride myself, like, I'm not going out. Like it was a weird, like that two people thing where no, I don't drink. I pride myself. I don't drink. I don't do drugs.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna stay in the room, and you guys go out and do your thing. And I felt very arrogant about who I was, but I would go in there and I would spend hours watching porn, hours. And it was one of those things. Like I felt like okay, I would be all guilty, but I'll never do that again. But it would always happen, pretty much once a week, maybe twice. And if I had 2 or 3 days off, especially when I'm off, gone, like away from home
On the road, yeah.
it was, I mean, it was like benders, like, you know what I mean? It was weird. And 10 years earlier, from that time, I had cheated on my wife at a massage parlor. And I vowed I would never take that step, but I did. And I said, okay, this is a secret I'm taking with me for life. Like I will die with this. So that's it. But I never did that again, but the porn use just ramped up after that. So all this time, and my wife hit me with the question. She said, "What is it I don't know about you, Terry Crews?"
Whoa.
Rainn, I don't know what happened, man. I said, "I'm tired. I'm tired. I can't hide this anymore." And I said, 10 years ago, I went to a massage parlor, got a hand job, and that's one thing you don't know about me. It came out just like that. She went, like this gasp. Now remember, I'm thinking, but that was 10 years ago. But to her,
Yeah.
it was a second ago.
It was like a yesterday. Yeah.
Who are you?
Yeah.
And this just the beginning. I ain't even tell her all this other stuff. I'm thinking here's just because I was just tired. And I knew our relationship was over. You know, there's a thing where, because every time you use, you put a block between the people in your life.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Whatever it is. It's like, you're in the way. I'd much rather, I don't want real life. I want this. So it'll put a brick between us and our relationship.
Mm. Mm.
And I just thought it was part of Hollywood. I was like, yeah, here comes the divorce. That's
Mm.
what it is. Like,
Mm.
this is why you see these guys. It's supposed to happen.
Mm.
And I was like, this is it. And she said, Terry, don't come home. It's over. I said, what do you mean? I said, that was 10 years. And I'm trying to
Yeah.
rationalize, like, you need to grow up and understand. Oh, dude. She's like, I don't know you. What is this? You've been lying to me the whole time.
Mm.
And I went, oh my God. Like, and she said, don't come home, and slammed the phone down. And I remember just thinking for a minute there, I was like, well, yeah, this is how it is. I'll just get me another girl, get me another woman, and find me. And I heard myself speaking this way.
Mm.
And I didn't like me. I was like, what are you doing?
Mm.
Who are you? And dude, the question always had been, why doesn't she believe me? Then for a split second, the question shifted, why am I lying? Changed the whole format of
Mm.
my life.
Mm. Mm.
I said, I've been lying this whole time.
Mm.
I'm lying to everybody. I'm a whole nother person. But there's an image that everyone loves that I've been holding up, but that's not me. And then I knew that wasn't me. And I knew who I really was. So I would dress it up every day. But I felt like a dirty, down, nasty dog. And usually, if you feel that way, you go right back to the mud.
What does your work look like now? What does your program look like now around your powerlessness around pornography?
Oh, just boundaries, boundaries
Mm.
in every way. And
Your blocks on your
oh,
devices,
no,
your accountability,
no,
12-step program,
no.
anything like that?
I had them in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
but can I tell you one thing that happened? Um, and one thing that really helped me is you get angry. You start to realize that things are trying to get you. And this is something that a lot of people don't talk about, okay? Because we're supposed to look at the world and we're all supposed to be wonderful and everything. Oh no, you're gonna have a really, a bad view of everything. No, no, I love you, but I don't trust you. The whole point is when I look at my phone and I look at something that comes in and it says, you're trying to get me.
Yeah.
You're not, what you say you're doing is not what you're doing.
Mm.
When you look at this algorithm, you're pulling me somewhere.
And the pop-up ads, if you look at any sports score,
Dude.
there's always like the Sports Illustrated, bikini model in the corner and like click here.
Dude, every 4 emails is a scam.
Mm.
Think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Every 4 emails,
Mm-hmm.
you click on it, they're trying to take something from you.
Mm-hmm.
If that gets you angry, you're like, delete. I'm not gonna even spend any time with you.
Mm.
And that's what made me mad. I got angry. Pornography became this big beast. And let me tell you one thing I did. And the biggest way I knew to stab it in the heart was to go public. I went public. And
It was
around
really
2000
brave. I remember reading your first interviews
Dude,
around it. It was like, whoa.
I got Facebook Live. There was Facebook Live.
Yeah.
And they were giving it out. And I was like, I could stab this thing in the heart right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because
it makes the stakes so much higher.
Oh,
right?
Because listen, you're only as sick as your secrets.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Because that was my life. Oh, the image, hide.
Mm-hmm.
I said, no hiding. I'll never hide again. This is why I can talk about this stuff so freely right now.
Mm.
Because I said, I was in the car and I was just coming out of the gym and I said, I had an addiction to pornography. You got to understand, back in, I was probably 20, I forget, it was like 8 years after I had been in therapy probably 6 or 7 years after it. You can look it up.
Yeah.
But I called it Dirty Little Secret. And it's on the internet right now. You can look it up. Terry Crews, Dirty Little Secret. That video is right there.
Yeah.
And I went public for the first time.
And your wife was cool with that.
Oh, she didn't know.
You just made that decision.
I had to. I just did it because I didn't want anybody to talk me out of it.
Mm.
And wait, and this is part of my thing where I had to get better for me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if she hadn't been, well, that's something you got to sort out. But I have to do this. Like I knew what I had to do to kill this thing, to stab this thing in the heart because it's a monster. You know what I mean? And I was like, I don't ever want to hide again. And integrity is just being one whole person, no two, no splits. That's what integrity is. And you got to understand, it rocked the world at the time. Every morning news show was like, Terry Crews admits to a pornography addiction.
Yeah.
They wanted me out on Good Morning America, Today's Show. They wanted me out there the next day. And I said, just look at the video.
It's all right there.
Why do I need to fly out and say this again? And then I was major, super big in Old Spice at the time. So I was Mr. Old Spice. They called and they were like, oh man, I think we got to get rid of him. My agent called. They said, Terry,
they're going to drop you.
They're going to drop you. I said, I understand. They didn't sign up for this. I understand. And listen, if they have to do it, they have to do it. But this is what I have to do. This is my no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And dude, wait a minute. 2 days went by and I was racing for the rejection and everything. And they were like, wait, he didn't get caught. We didn't catch him in any scandal. He's just talking
about something he's struggling with.
About what he struggled with.
Which is so common.
And the reason he came forward, I said, listen, and you can look at the video. I said, if anyone else is going through something like this, I want you to know you're not alone. You're not by yourself. No more hiding. No more hiding. I just want to let you know, I'm with you. Man, it was so freeing. And my wife looked at me like, what? And remember, I was prepared for anything when I came home. And she was like, this is the man I always wanted. And when you do that, man, and when you see it, and then you see how much it robbed you, you feel like a thief that's robbed you for years. So I don't have blocks because I don't need them. What I do have is standards and practices. And I replace every bad thing with a good one. This is the good thing I'm going to do. Instead of that, I'm going to do this. Choices.
The Soul Boom Podcast. Subscribe now on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever else you get your stupid podcasts.